on Fox 10 News.
Okay, plans to build a mosque near the site of the World Trade Center attacks has touched a nerve across this country. Over the weekend, President Obama weighed in on the matter. Because of his comments, this is likely to become a significant campaign issue leading into the midterm elections. Now, the president at first came out Friday apparently strongly in favor of this mosque near Ground Zero, but then a day later, after capturing a lot of heat over his statements, he seemed to back away.
I believe that Muslims have the right to practice their religion as everyone else in this country. And that includes the right to build a place of worship and a community center on private property in Lower Manhattan.
I was not commenting, and I will not comment on the wisdom of making a decision to put a mosque there. I was commenting very specifically on the right that people have that dates back to our founding.
Even though this is happening 3,000 miles away, there are strong opinions across the country. Polls show an overwhelming majority oppose building this mosque at Ground Zero. Joining us tonight to talk about it, two Muslims with very different views on it. Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, American Islamic Forum for Democracy, and Deedra Abboud, Council on American Islamic Relations. Thanks to you both. Dr. Jasser, the president pretty much laid it out. There's a legal right to build this mosque there. The question is it appropriate? Should it be built there?
Yeah, I think nobody's questioned, John, the legality of it. Actually, the Constitution has no wiggle room on these things, and many of us have defended mosques all over the country that we've built. But the issue has to do with what this does to the Muslim community and whether it is, and how tone deaf it is for America, for Muslims to do this at a place that casts a shadow on Ground Zero. The builders of this mosque are doing it intentionally. They said because it's near Ground Zero. They're trying to change the narrative of what happened on 9/11, and it's an offense to the families that are suffering from that. And to say that Ground Zero is the beginning of a cultural exchange is really tone deaf. It was the beginning of a war and the beginning of a kinetic conflict that we have to respect. And I think this $100 million structure disrespects
We
that.
got to get a couple of opinions in here. Deedra, is this an in-your-face gesture to put that mosque 2 blocks from Ground Zero?
First of all, I'm with the Muslim American Society, not CARE. But no, I don't think it is, and I don't think it should be interpreted that way. This is an open space that anybody could rent at any time, and Muslims found this at the right place, the right time, in order to build a community center, just like a YMCA, just like anybody else.
But do you risk, instead of getting public acceptance for Islam, that you risk turning people off by pushing this 2 blocks from Ground Zero?
Well, there's already a mosque 4 blocks from Ground Zero, and this is a community center. And I don't think that building a mosque is trying to get people to accept Muslims. We're already here. We didn't create 9/11. Yes, some fanatics did, but the majority of Muslims in the United States did not. All the Muslims in the world did not. We just want a place to worship and a place for our kids to go and have activities during the day and the night instead of being on the streets like all other parents.
But Deedra, all humility aside, this is a month of Ramadan. We're all about humility. This is not a humble mosque like the rest of the mosques we've built around the country. This is an imposing mammoth structure of 13 stories that is looking to be they haven't disavowed foreign money. We're talking about over $100 million. The Muslim community in America could take that money and put $1 million in 100 cities to do anti-terrorism work, counterterrorism, anti-Al-Qaeda work, and we're squandering it on swimming pools and auditoriums and casting a shadow over hallowed ground that I think is really inappropriate.
Dr. Jasser, let's we have to get back to the point, and certainly New Yorkers haven't forgotten it, that 3,000 people died when those Twin Towers came down on 9/11. And as we see that horrific video from that day, this seems like, again, an issue about not whether you can, but appropriateness. And the question about whether you push ahead with something that clearly the public is really divided over, and that you may end up doing more harm than good by putting a mosque there.
Yeah, I can't emphasize that enough, which is, have they really looked at what the impact? 70% of Americans, and I'll tell you, I think most Muslims don't want that there, and would say there was a Muslim in the Washington Post, Nadia Berluki, that basically said her mother died there and said, please put this mosque elsewhere. There's so many places to put it. There are even a mosque closer, so it's really the size of the structure and the fact that the community doesn't want it. I'll tell you, in the example of the Prophet, he would never do such a thing that was an imposition on the community that didn't want want it there.
Let's back away from the prophet here for a minute and let's hear from the politicians. They've all got an opinion on it. Mayor Michael Bloomberg weighing in on this. He favors it.
And if we shout down a mosque and community center because it is 2 blocks away from the site where freedom was attacked, I think it would be a sad day for America.
Deedra Abboud, I'm going to let you finish off here with that thought from the mayor.
I think that's an excellent point. If it was supposedly attacking our freedom, if that's what that was about, then allowing us to attack the freedom of any religion, Muslims or not, is not the right message to send. And the Muslims, it is not squandering money for any group of people to want to educate their kids and give their kids community centers, and that is the best fight against terrorism, not squandering money to other places that we don't know where they're going. We know exactly where it's going. It's going for the children and the community to make it stronger and more Muslim.
Deedra Abboud, thank you, and Dr. Jasser, appreciate both of you, your time tonight. Thank you.
Coming up on